I don't have a ton of free time, so actually, not technically I do. It's only 12:30 and midnight, so we're doing fairly well for ourselves. First of all, I need to say, Song of the Week, or let's say Artist of the Week, Craig David. Fucking love this guy. I'm talking Two Steps Back, Eeny Meeny. Like, hold on, let me see, because it's Slicker Than Your Average. Just, if you haven't seen that, just go check that album out. Craig fucking David, man. I haven't heard from, I haven't been haven't listened to him in a while, but I've been listening to him recently. Man, I forgot how much I love this dude, man. Slicker Than Your Average indeed. And then, movie of the week, Dino King. It's a free YouTube movie. I've been looking at some of those free YouTube movies. There are some that I've seen before, but still worth checking out again. Others that I've never seen before. Like, I finally got to see Earth Girls Are Easy for the first time. Now I know what all the fuss is about. And you know what? It's a stupid damn movie, but it's so fucking good. It is one of the worst movies ever made, and I loved every second of it. Dino King, on the other hand, I've got a lot of notes here. We'll go over that later. Save it for last, because I got too much to say. And Snack of the Week, Oreo Cookies and Cream Instant Pudding. I haven't actually tried it. I don't know, it's instant pudding and pie filling. It can be either or, depending on how you mix it, apparently. I haven't actually tried this. I'm going to go buy some milk tomorrow just to make this. Because I really want to see. I love pudding. I love cookies and cream. I love Oreos. All of those in one package sounds like a good deal. So actually today something cool happened. Well, I don't know if it's cool. Was it today or was that yesterday? Well, one of these days. It might have been today. No, it was yesterday. It was yesterday. Because today I overslept and was like rushing to work. But yesterday, I forgot to turn my alarm. I mean, no, my alarm was on, but I forgot to turn the sound on my phone. And so, like, it just kept ringing for like 10 minutes and I didn't hear it because, well, actually, because it wasn't ringing. It was just buzzing. But, anyways, yeah, on yesterday when I was going to work, there was a guy getting arrested at a bus stop. And, like, I'm walking, and I see 5 police cars ahead, and I'm like, holy shit, what's going on? Uh-oh. And there's, like, one guy in hand-ups. The police have him against the car, and he's, like, arguing, and I'm like, dude, you're gonna get yourself shot. Chill out. And part of me is wondering, should I, like, cross the street, go around? But, like, if I run across the street every time I see a cop, I feel like that's gonna make me look more suspicious. Because that is something that happens to me all the time. You know, white guy or old white man or little white girl. Most often it's one of those two. Where they look up, see me, and they cross the street. And that makes me think, And I start paying more attention to them because of it. And I make sure to turn my head back and look. Because most of the time, they end up, as soon as we pass each other, they come back across the street. And that makes me want to remember your face. So I decided play it cool and just keep walking, hope they don't say anything. Like, no one seemed to say anything. That being said, my headphones were on. So if they did say something, I didn't hear it. Thankfully, no one shot me in the back, so apparently they didn't say anything. Like, whatever happened, it seemed to be over. And they understood, like, hey, I'm just a young nigga passing through. It's chill, baby, it's chill. Also, there was this lady cop who pulled up and started asking questions, like, to the other people, like, when she got there. And I don't know what it is about a woman in uniform. Those pants just are very form-fitting. Anyways, oh yeah, I hurt my foot 2 weeks ago. I forgot. I didn't make a vlog last week. I heard something, but there was people outside anyways. I didn't make a vlog last week. I was actually planning to. And I recorded one, and it was like 20 minutes long, probably. Honestly, I just wasn't feeling it, you know? So I decided not to upload it, ended up deleting it. But yeah, I hurt my foot, and it was so weird, because it was on Tuesday. So almost 2 weeks ago, I don't know if I told you, the eye thing seems to be mostly gone. Like every now and then, like once a week at most, it'll like I'll rub it and it'll still feel like that weirdness. But for the most part, the eye thing seems to have passed. The foot thing though, 100%. I think there are some bones loose when moving around in there. Cause like I don't know how to explain what I felt other than like I was walking to walk and I was almost at walk and I was feeling perfectly fine. Then out of nowhere, I put my foot down and there's this really weird pain. It's like the sensation I can only be described as it felt like a bone in the back of my foot slid forward and pushed all the bones in the front of my foot out of place. It felt like that. And I was limping for like 3 days, 2.5 maybe. Like it was a noticeable severe limp. And like you never notice how much you use different parts of your feet until you can't use it. Apparently, I use a lot of my front feet. But yeah, there's bones moving around in here. And I've definitely gone flat-footed for some reason only in this right foot. Because I've noticed now if I stand straight and I'm not paying attention to how I'm standing, I do end up tilting to the right. And then all that pressure going to the right foot ends up, I feel the pain. Oh, I feel the pain. But it's actually, like, because at first it was like on, like the left side of the foot, like back at the heel. And it hurt like hell every second of every day. And then like it kind of moved up forward. And then it didn't hurt as much, but it still hurt, especially after a long day. And then it was in that front of the foot, and I was like, oh, dear Jesus. Good news is it didn't hurt if I didn't move. Bad news is it hurt with every step I take. Okay, every step I took, every breath I made. You see where I'm going, don't you? If you don't, fuck you. Get off my channel. But yeah. Every move I made, every vow I break, it hurt like hell. It only hurts when I'm breathing. But then, like, it started to subside, and it kind of, like, the pain kind of started now appearing, like, on the right side of the foot, kind of, like, right in the middle. And now it only hurts after, like, a 10-hour shift at work. So, like, I don't know. I probably should get this foot thing checked out. I won't, but I feel like I should. Yeah, I've had some things have been going horribly for me. Like the book thing is stressing me out. Like I don't know why I felt like it might happen this way. I guess I was too optimistic. Part of me was really hoping that, like I was sincerely hoping that I could just send an email and then boom, the book is made. But like, I sent one email and was told, oh, here's a list of people that you can contact for the things you need. And I'm like, okay. Send another email, a week later, no answer. Send another email to someone else. 2 days later, she answers just to tell me, now you email this person. And then, a few days later, I email this person. Week later, they haven't answered. I start looking at some of the other printing presses and seeing, like, do they offer what I need? Do they have some of the same services? Because on paper, this place looks great. And I think I don't want to give up on them completely, but I was like, let's look at some of these other things I haven't checked out yet. See if they can, because, like, right now, I'm not sure if anything can happen with this one. Like, at least I know I can now confirm that actual live human beings do walk there. I had a brief phone conversation, but I don't know. Like, I'll be on the phone on Monday looking at, seeing if I can make something happen here, but anyways, yeah, I'm still, there's a whole list of, it's got hundreds on there, so no way in hell to read the entire list. So basically, I just looked at the A's and then picked the one that I liked best. But yeah, it's a whole list to walk through. So we're just picking things at random and seeing, like, what happens. Also, I started looking at a lot of other people's self-publishing diaries, people who have put blogs online about their process they went through. So far, a lot of it's just bullshit. No, because like legitimately, the first one I read was like, me and my wife, we just bought some printing presses, started our own printing company, hired a top-rate editor, hired a top-rate marketer, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, so you wanted to make a book, so you just started an entire company, hired a lot of people? Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work for me. But yeah, I also because there's this one website that I've been trying to avoid because there's articles about making your own uh, like ebook, how to format it and stuff. But the first three articles were basically just why you should care about how well your ebook is formatted. Before the fourth article, were finally told, oh, you do it with HTML, and then the fifth article, it finally gets to the point where, okay, here's how you actually start doing it. And so that annoyed me just a little bit. And so it's really hard not to give up right now. It really is. There's so much going on. I'm not giving up completely, but it's hard not to want to. I've been working on a couple of stories. I'd say they're new. They feel new to me, but there are two older stories that I made more than a decade ago. There are a lot of stories I did when I was young that loved it when I started working on it. Then I didn't like it anymore for whatever reason. Stopped working on it, and now years later I'm looking back on it, and both of these stories have something in common that I'm actually combining this story with things from another story that I did, kind of melting elements together into the perfect high school drama. So yeah, I've been working on those two lately. Let's see. I think I've got everything. Let's look at my notes. Yeah, it's just it's hard sometimes, but I think I've got to keep going forward, just hoping it might be worth it when all is said and done. There's no way to actually guarantee it will be, but what other choice do I have now but to keep trying? It's either try or die, as they say. Now, I want to talk about this really shitty movie called Dino King. You feel free to go check it out yourself. It's one of the free YouTube movies. And I thought it's a cool movie about dinosaurs, and let me just say, you can tell money was put into it. There's a lot that it looks really good. And it appears to be an Asian movie, because I don't know if it's from another country. It could easily have been made in China, and that maybe possibly something got lost in translation when it made it to America, and that maybe if I watch it with subtitles it would be much better. Or maybe that's just how the way they tell stories over there. I don't know. Then again, it could just be an American movie that were made by a bunch of Asian Americans. I had no idea. I just know I watched the movie once, and I hated so many things about it. I mean, I hate things about me. Freudian slip. I still want to kill myself like every other day. But we're not talking about that now. We're talking specifically about this movie. So, let's look at all of the notes I took as the movie. Okay. First of all, there's this one thing at the very beginning of the movie where the narrator says, "As if the moon cast a shadow, my face was covered in spots." I feel like that was supposed to be poetic. There are so many things wrong with that phrase. I feel like maybe this is, like I said, this is one of the things where I feel like maybe this is a foreign movie and something got lost in translation, and maybe it's a slightly more beautiful in the original language. Hell, maybe you guys heard that and thought, oh my god, that's so pretty. But I'm like, first of all, the moon casts shadows all the fucking time. Secondly, why the fuck would a moon cast a shadow just on your face? And why would it be a speckled shadow? Anyways. So yeah, and I was actually confused about it because there was a new... Because I thought there was a new dinosaur introduced. Because when I saw because when I read the thing, it was saying that, oh, he meets another dinosaur like himself or blah blah. And so the character gets older and the narrator switches, which I kind of don't understand why they did that. Because the first narrator was the adult Speckles narrating the baby that was born, and then it goes back to a child Speckles, for some reason, who calls himself Spotty Face. Which is another reason why I thought, is this a new character? Because different voice and referring to themselves as a different name. So, but turns out, no, Speckles was a Spotty Face, and he only called himself Spotty Face that one time and never said it again. Which, once again, makes me wonder, why did you call yourself it that time? But, whatever. Also, the voiceover was too much. I feel like this movie could have been just as good, probably better, if it only kept 1/3 of the voiceover. It says way too much. I feel like there are some of these things that kind of go without saying. You didn't actually have to voice it. I feel like there are times when the voiceover is trying to tell the story, when you should just let the pictures tell the story, and I feel like it gets far too distracting the more the movie goes on. It's just, please, less voiceover. We don't need that damn much. We don't need you to literally tell us every thought that pops into the character's head. Once again, I'm hoping that maybe this is why I'm hoping it comes from a different country and that there's because a cultural difference could maybe explain that. Because it definitely feels more like almost like a play where you have a narrator off stage who has to explain the actions so that people understand what's going on. They enter through a forest, and it's like, I can see they're in a fucking forest. I see all the goddamn trees. But what? It definitely felt more like a documentary. And a really horrible documentary. One of the things that I wrote the note is Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron. It has a somewhat similar style where the main character is an animal and does not speak in a human voice, but there is a human narrating thoughts. But I think Spirit is one of the first movies that I think of because they did a great job of this, using the pictures to tell the story, using music to tell a story, and not just Matt Damon spending 90 minutes literally telling you every single thought that pops into Spirit's fucking head. And then, too much mouth noise Speckles. It just bothered me. It only really happened mostly as a baby, but literally just, Speckles just kept making so many mouth noises that grunt, growl, whatever, just, it was incessant. I feel like we could have done with a little less of that. And then, there was one of the few things I loved about this movie, and you know what? Pushed the wrong button, but one of the few things I loved about this movie was that there were Velociraptors. And they had punk hairdos, some of them with different colors, and they were called punks. No, they weren't called punks. They were called bullies. No, what was the exact word? Oh, they're called outlaws. They're called outlaws and bullies. And I kind of love that because I'm like, would those words have actually existed in your culture? Whatever, who cares? You got you got these outlaw Velociraptor with punks, with like punk mohawks in purple and shit. And I'm just like, that's fucking awesome. That is literally my favorite part of the movie. Anyway. At one point in time he said, oh, I moved far away from Redeye, but the swamp is still there. Like, the swamp that we saw earlier was still there. You said you moved far away, and yet you're in the exact same place. It's like, does far away mean the other side of town? Because, like, that's kind of basically all that happened. And literally, Redeye showed up immediately. Like, 2 minutes after he said, I moved far away from Redeye, I'm like, let me guess, Redeye's gonna show up. What happens? Actually, no, it wasn't Redeye, it was One Eye. I feel like Redeye would have been better, but it was a red T-Rex with one eye. I think they just called him One Eye, but still. Literally like 2 minutes after he said, I moved far away from One Eye, and I was like, One Eye's about to show up, isn't he? Boom! There's One Eye. Like, oh my god. And there were so many times calling that One Eye a beast and a monster. And at one point in time, I'm not sure if it was quicksand or a tar pit, but there was this swamp with like this one little spot where if you go in there, like the dinosaurs are getting sucked under. Okay? And I saw that and I was like, the way he looked at it, I know that's how Redeye's gonna die. One Eye. I'm just gonna call it Redeye because it's cooler. That's how Redeye's gonna die. And of course, what happens? That's exactly what he does. He lures Redeye into the swamp and sees him start going down. You know, his legs are being pulled in, and he starts walking away. Then suddenly, out of nowhere, not a single sound was made. He just kind of turns around and sees Redeye there, just with mud on his legs, and he's just like, that's one tenacious beast. And I'm just like, oh dear God. And like, worst of all, Redeye's just standing there, staring at him. I'm like, motherfucker just tried to kill me. I'm not just gonna stand there and stare at you. I'm gonna bite your ass. I'm not just gonna stand there and stare, watch while you run away. That's the one thing about this that does bother me the absolute most. There are so many times throughout this fucking movie where the death doesn't make sense. Like, there are so many times where it does not make sense that he wouldn't die, and 100% the only reason he did not die in this moment is because he's the main character. Like, once again, there were like at least 3 separate occasions where Redeye had this motherfucker dead to rights and just stared at him while he ran away. And I'm like, what? And there were other times where dinosaurs are dying and it just makes no goddamn sense. Like the kid, spoiler alert, I probably should have said that before I started talking about it. But anyways, spoiler alert, it's too late now. Redeye kills the kid's entire family. And how it happened is weird, because like, Redeye starts a stampede, and then suddenly, magically, this huge crevice appears that we never noticed was there before. But like, oh, it's always been there, just on the edge of the map. Apparently, they're on this, like, whatever. And so the stampede ends up chasing his brother and sisters into the canyon, and kind of pushing them off the edge. And then Redeye gets in a fight with the mom, and just like, he has the mom by the neck. His teeth are around her neck. He could have just bit down. But no! I think that would have been too gory for this movie. There was very little blood in this movie, considering all the sharp teeth. But no, the T-Rex has this dinosaur in his teeth. And instead of just biting down or like wrenching his neck, like, or anything like that, he pushes her. He holds her in his mouth with his sharp teeth, on her neck and pushes her to the crevice, throws her off the canyon, into the canyon. And I'm like, why? What? That feels just, why? But yeah. That's the biggest problem with this movie is that the majority of it, like 78% of the movie was unbelievable. And it was hard to enjoy it because I kept being taken out of the action by all the things that I'm like, that wouldn't, no, why, see. Oh. There was a fallen Brachiosaurus, which I feel like that could have happened earlier in the movie. Long story short, volcano erupts, destroys their home. All the dinosaurs are migrating. The predators are migrating with the prey. The herbivores, but anyway, they're all migrating together. And at one point in time, he's like, his wife collapses, right? She's injured, she collapses, and in that very moment, this like huge, giant brontosaurus or whatever collapses. And actually, I think this story takes place in the Cretaceous period, and half the dinosaurs, even though like they look like the ones I know, they have technically different names or whatever. But anyways, this huge Bronto, Braccio, whatever, a giant ass long neck falls down, like right after his wife, and then the raptors go up and start eat, and they don't actually start eating it, but they all like jump on like they're gonna eat it. And he's like, and in that moment, he was like, oh, we all saw what happened when the Brachio fell or whatever. And I'm like, what do you mean saw what happened? It just happened. I mean, I might be remembering it wrong. It could be like we see what those scavengers do when a dinosaur falls. But for some reason in my head, I'm remembering him specifically saying like, oh, we all saw what happened when the Brachiosaurus fell. What those scavengers did to it. And then meanwhile, there's like, so far in this movie, there was like one gang with like 6 Velociraptors. And that's it. And so I figured giant-ass Brachiosaurus that just collapsed. No one's taken a single bite out of it yet. I feel like that should be plenty for 6 Velociraptors. But then his wife is there, and I forget what he's officially called. He's actually I forget the specific type of dinosaur. He's a type of tyrannoid. It's like so he is basically a smaller T-Rex. But anyways, so like Speckles, his wife is down, and he knows if she stays down, she's gonna die. He's like trying to get her to get up, but she can't. And then the raptors go after her, and I'm like, that makes no fucking sense. Like I said, you've got a fucking giant-ass Brachio here. It should be more than enough to feed the 6 of you. Why would you leave this fallen Brachio to go take a dinosaur that is being guarded by a T-Rex? And when they ran for him, I knew, oh, this is going to be some Jurassic Park shit here. And I loved it. It was fun. Until I realized what was happening. They pulled some fucking be prepared shit on me. Because at this point in the movie, I don't think I had ever seen more than 6 Velociraptors. And now suddenly there's 100. And I'm like, where the fuck did these all come from? What the hell? I mean, on the one hand, it's kind of cool and fun, and it was this. I feel like it should have been a more painful moment because it's like he has to make the choice to abandon his wife in order to protect his children, and just like leave her there to be feasted on by these raptors. But why the hell are there suddenly 100 fucking Velociraptors? Where did they all come from? Like I said, there are so many things about this movie that are just beyond belief, and it takes you out of what would otherwise be a very moving moment. Also, like I said, the big-ass Brachio is still over there. Like, I feel like that was something that probably could have happened earlier, like 10 or 15 minutes earlier in the movie. Like when they're first beginning their migration, the Brachio falls, and then they all start eating it. And then when his wife falls, she's like, please get up. We all remember, don't you remember what they did to the Brachio? Like that, I feel like that could have been a better way to handle it. Also, don't send out 100 fucking raptors. Because, like, it was literally endless. Like, what the fucking hell, man? Oh my god, what were you thinking? And the only other note I have is that, some predictable plot twist, but I loved the ending. That's one thing I did say at some point, because I knew he was going to meet this girl, and, like, he kept Redeye, whatever, One Eye. Like, he kept staying near this guy who had killed his family for some stupid reason. So I felt like before he even got full grown, I felt like, he met this girl. I knew at some point in time, like, his wife somehow is gonna die. His kids somehow are gonna die. And I was right. Two of his 3 children died. I knew that at some point in time, there was the final battle. I didn't know if it would be the final battle, but I knew, like, I kind of knew this. He would end up having to kill Redeye, and it ended up there being this final battle between him and Redeye, and he and his son survived. And honestly, I probably should have predicted it just based on the type of movie that was, but there was a part of me that was like early in the movie. Before I 100% knew what this movie was, it's basically a Disney movie in some respects. Like, I was thinking, his wife's gonna die, like, he's gonna get a wife, he's gonna have kids, then they're all gonna die, and he's gonna be the new One Eye. I would have loved to see that. But also I thought, the most predictable ending is he defeats One Eye and it's a happy ending. And to some degree, that is what happened. He had to overcome watching One Eye kill his mother and all his siblings. His wife was killed. 2 of his kids die. But in the end, he defeats One Eye and he saves his favorite son. And honestly, like, I liked it. It's one of the worst dinosaur movies I've ever watched, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it enough that I don't mind talking about it with you. Because if I absolutely hated this movie, I would just pretend it didn't exist. And just never talk about it because I don't want to give it that much press. I don't want other people to know about it because then they might go watch it. But yeah, it was a frustrating movie in so many ways. But overall, I enjoyed the experience. It's one of those things that there were a lot of flaws in the execution, a lot of things that I definitely would have changed. But still, I enjoyed the movie. Well, that's all I got for you this week. Join me. I don't know for sure when the next video will be up, but whenever it does happen, stick around. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below. Go watch Dino King and leave comments down below with anything you want to add to the conversation. Whatever. Fuck it, man. I'm going to bed. It's 1:15. It hurt to turn. My sides are aching. My back's feeling very stiff. Good night, everybody.